What's up, everybody? Ben Renzi here for Stokastic. Let's talk some golf. Travelers Championship DFS Picks. Analysis. What are we going to do? Non-cut. How do we build? What do the tools say? All of it and more right now on the PGA Strategy Show here at Stokastic. If you join us for the first time, welcome aboard. If not, welcome back. We are going to break it down. Yes, the U.S. Open was last week. We got all sorts of drama. I thought it was awesome. I like JJ Spawn. Wasn't rooting for him. Was rooting for Ty Hatton, who I really needed. Was rooting for Hovland, who I needed. No dice. Spawn made the putts. I think the weather delay saved him. He kind of said as much. But you know what? He made the plays when he needed to. And I got to give him credit. Now, we saw Oakmont deliver in terms of, legitimate, brutal tests. So we're not going to see that this week. TPC River Highlands, kind of in my neck of the woods in Connecticut. Of course, we've seen a lot. So we do have some differences. Small field. Course history to go on, non-cut, week after a major, a lot of those type of angles that we're going to get into here to break down. So again, we're going to go through the tools. We'll go through some of the plays that I'm on, talk about some stats. I'll show you how to get inside the ropes here at Stokastic, all that good stuff. If you want to hit the like button right off the bat, it does help us, or help me, help society immensely. Let's get right to it here. All right, so I'm going to bring up our data hub, as you can see. Let me zoom in for us so we can actually see what's going on. All right, I guess here we go. Now, so any week that Scotty Scheffler is in the field, he's going to get the first billing. He'll be the starting point. He's going to be the most expensive option. He's been in video game territory in terms of salary. 14 and change last week, 13 and change this week. It's a lot more doable this week than last week. Not that, he was still right there. You have a non-cut, so you're going to be able to pay down easier. Now, you don't have dynamic pricing. What I mean by that is you don't have guys in the 5K range, but you also have good players in the 6K range. It's an elevated field, so it's pretty strong up and down. I'm doing this early on Wednesday. There's obviously going to be some updates as we get going, but this is pretty reasonable to me. Scheffler is going to be very, very popular. I think if you're building a lot of lineups, you want to have him. I do the same thing with Scheffler almost every week. I have a small position against the field. Sometimes I'll have like 40% and he'll be 30% owned. Sometimes I have 15% and he'll be 30% owned. Very rarely do I want him to define the week because he's such not a volatile player. It's such a polarizing player. When you're talking someone who's like plus 200 to win the tournament, you know that if you really radically fade him, you could get bageled. And jamming him changes the dynamic of your lineup. It's going to make it hard to get shares of Rory, Xander, Morikawa. You can do it, but you're going to be punting with 4 and probably duped. In terms of the next 3, you've got Rory. He positive, fixed his driving woes. Those seem to be already in the past. He's going to a course that I think fits him really nicely. We've seen TPC River Highlands yield some gettability to bombers if you want to be aggressive. We've seen in recent years 20 plus under. You can go really low here. I think Rory sets up fine. Xander, obviously I don't say it's a lost season. That's a little extreme, but it hasn't been a great year for him. He still makes the cut every week. That's not really in play this week. But the injuries and whatnot, he's just been kind of in that middle ground. He was 12th at the U.S. Open, very respectable. I prefer going north to Rory or going to Morikawa. I know Morikawa hasn't exactly lit the world on fire this year either. 23rd at the U.S. Open. The ball striking is still Morikawa-like. I like this course for him. He can lean on the irons. He's the cheapest of the 4, 10-2 starting point. I'm going to be over the field on Morikawa. I bet Morikawa. I have him at a good price. I like that spot. So if I had to rank them, it would probably be Morikawa, Rory, Scheffler, Xander. All 4 clearly playable. All 4 great options. Now, here we go. We made it 4 golfers without all hell breaking loose. Patrick Cantlay. The majors have been a disaster. He missed the cut at the U.S. Open. He missed the cut at the PGA. He was 36th at the Masters. None of this is good, and it's an alarming trend for a really good player. Now, his Travelers record is very, very nice. I believe it's 7 straight appearances with top 15 or better. That's pretty damn consistent. It's just a really tough ask of like, do you want to start with Cantley second man in? Clearly not playing up to par amongst his peers in terms of this price range, but his course history kind of elevates him. So this is weird dynamic balance what you're doing. I don't think it'll be as popular as those other guys, which is good because I'd like to have Cantley in the pool, but I don't feel confident really jamming him. So I don't have a strong take on him. He's projecting just north of 10%, 10 to 15%. I'm fine with that. Probably be a little over, not a major player. Obear, my man, awful Friday at the US Open. I read that he had a migraine. Seems like just kind of bad timing, bad luck. Is that why he missed the cut? I have no idea. Doesn't seem like it helped. If you want to just hold on and buy, I think that's more than reasonable. He also crushes off the tee. Nothing, 9,600 could be your starting point. Seems pretty reasonable. I would rather play JT, who's the ultimate volatile. He was just not in it at the US Open or the PGA. He's kind of in that Cantlay bucket. And he was 36th at the Masters. He's very similar. That he has been terrible in the biggest events. But this is a winner at Heritage, second at Valspar, second at the Truist. JT on these easy courses, and this isn't a pushover, but it's not to that level. Does seem like a good tournament play. He can really score. You're getting the rounds. So far we've talked about all the best players in the world, or in this field, I should say. I'm not going to make any crazy stands up here. They all garner ownership. I think they all should. I've been underweight on Straka. I'm going to be underweight on Straka again here at 15%. It's just an opportunity cost thing. He was not good last week, which again, I think is totally forgivable. That's not a big deal to me. I just, at the same time, and he's been really bad. Man, these guys are the majors. Some of them have not had good major years, but that's irregardless. There's just too many other names because I want to make room for some JT shares, Cantlay shares. Burns, I'm not the biggest Sam Burns guy, but I will say he caught an objectively awful break. I'm not a golf expert, but he should have got free relief or got to drop, whatever it's called. There's just water everywhere. That seemed like a bad break. So I felt for him. He's playing really good golf. Prices come up, though. It's about where he should be. I'd rather go to the two below him. Victor Hovland. He was right in it. He couldn't make a damn thing on Sunday. Struck it great. I'm content with that. Obviously off the tee. Used to be a super asset. It's still an asset. This is a good course for him. I don't think around the green will be a detriment. Tommy Fleetwood, you're going to have to, you can go two directions. You can forgive last week. He took multiple penalties through the first two holes, missed on the number. Or you can say, I'm not paying for a guy that is just, he has no win equity, historically at least. And there's just other names that I want. I'll personally just kind of hang on with Fleetwood, 15%. Ownership is very flat right now, and we'll see how that progresses. But I do think it's an interesting wrinkle. Look at this. I mean, every guy is in a very similar range right here. So you're not getting crazy leverage with pivots. And you can see the leverage scores, something I'll talk about a little more when we mess around with the tools. It's not going to jump off the page with crazy ownership. Obviously, someone like Scheffler that's crazy owned, he doesn't have leverage. Doesn't mean you can't play him. Connors withdrew. He hurt his wrist. Spawn, I don't know where his head's at, but obviously he's playing some damn good golf. Keegan, Bobby Mack, who was right there. Lowry, who was a no-show last week. He was like 20 over. Spieth, 8,200 Jordan Spieth. I just kind of went through a bunch of players that I'm indifferent with in this range. We'll recap the range in a second, but I do have some interest right here in Jordan Spieth. 23rd at the Open, 7th at Memorial. We know he's got a crafty short game. We know he can score. His irons have been good. He's gained in 6 of 7. I like this spot for Jordan Spieth. I think this is certainly a good setup. He's about I don't even want to say a mixed bag of results. He won this event. It was quite a while ago. I believe he holed it from the bunker. I was on a plane when it happened. I remember it somewhat vividly. And since then, he's been pretty terrible at this event. But that's kind of the range of outcomes that you deal with a guy like Spieth. There's just some of that volatility even within it. He's got to be better off the tee here. Put yourself in an advantageous position, and then he can really score. So when I look at the 8K range, it's a range that I'll be underweight on as a whole. You've got Spieth, Decky's right below him. I'm fine with that. Up top, Fleetwood and probably Keegan. And the rest I could do, again, I might have some shares. I'll see what the tools give me. but it's not a lot of priorities in this range. I'm mostly going to pay up or chop down to the mid sevens. And let's talk about the 7K range. Again, I'm on, just to give you guys some insight, I'm going to show you a lot more. I'm on our data hub right now, part of, again, what you can get here at Stokastic. You've got the data hub single lineup simulator, which I've got it queued up. We're going to build some lineups after this. Contest generator, pre-contest sim, post-contest sim, where you can review not just your lineups, but any lineup in any tournament and see what was the expected ROI, the actual, all that good stuff. If you're really serious of being a better DFS player, powerful stuff. I will show you. Again, the link is below if you've heard enough, but I'll show you what else is going on here. Pendrith, Sunjay, Siwoo, Cam Young playing outstanding. If he's really this, I think he'll be a little more popular just given the form. I will be over. Tony, 7,700. I'm going to be buying there as well. I think that Finau does set up pretty well. I know he didn't really do anything last week. He came in 38th, but the irons have been pretty solid. Again, I like this course for him. This is a good range. Just part of the reason why I don't like the 8K range, because I like some of these guys. Aaron Rye, he quietly was fine last week. And again, I don't want to weigh the US Open. It's not analogous to much, but it was nice for him to see a result, because after the PGA Championship, he missed the cut at Charles Schwab. He missed the cut at the Memorial. And if he would have missed the cut at the US Open, you have to start asking yourself, is there a problem? The biggest problem I can see is that he can't putt right now. He's lost 7 of 8 events on the greens with the flat stick, but the rest is in pretty good shape. As you go down, you got Ricky. If you want to get real dangerous, Ricky was watching the US Open because he lost in the playoff to get there, but he was really good at Memorial, had a top 10. You think that form continues? Ricky's a steal at 72. Mac Hughes, if you want to lean around the green. Tom Kim, if you want to lean around the green. Denny, if you want to lean with putting. Day as well. Ryan Fox is here. As I scroll down, these are some of the names. There's not going to be as much ownership. You start to see the next tier, these kind of 5 to 10% guys, where, if you're playing 20 lineups, 2 to 3 lineups is probably going to be leverage in terms of ownership allocation. I think this is where skill sets come into play for me. Not exclusively, but more often, if I'm targeting some around the green and short game, some of those guys versus someone like Ryan Fox, who, what's there to say? He backed up Canada. He played well at the US Open. He played well at the PGA. He's played well all season. And the price, you're not getting, you are getting a discount, I guess you could say. There's no other way to really say it. His recent form is not of a 7K player, maybe historically, but not right now. He is next to Fitzy, who I have some interest in. I think the most interesting thing about all this is normally I really look for a pivot. So like if Ryan Fox is 25% owned and Fitzy's 8%, I say, okay, I'm willing to make that pivot. But you're choosing somewhat best available in these ranges because ownership is very flat. Now, as we get updates and if things change, I'll react accordingly. But right now, you do have to analyze it in the sense of who would you rather want. There's not a lot of game theory going into these decisions. Now, Fitzy is another one with the short game. He's just got to kind of put it all together. He was 8th at the PGA because his irons exploded, but that has been the exception to the rule this year. So I look at Fitzpatrick. I do think he's an interesting play at 6,900, but he's in a company of plays that Ryan Fox makes sense, Ricky makes sense. I think Mackenzie Hughes as a dart throw makes sense. And it's a small field. We don't have as many options at any given range. So before I get to the salary savers, I do want to mention, I already talked about it. If you guys are considering, if you play PGA DFS, simple as that, let me start there. And I assume most of you do. You should come check out what we got going on here at Stokastic. These tools, we have it broken down, different types of packages with different features, because some people might not want late, obviously not late swap, but like the simulators. If you don't want to use the sims, okay, well, you don't have to. If you do, or you say, okay, I want to use it in a light fashion, well, we have that. We've got weekly, we've got monthly. Simple as that. Find the package that works for you. Give it a shot. You have great results, stick with it. If you don't love the process, you're always welcome back. It has changed my process for the better. I can honestly say that. I would never say that if I didn't mean it. I use this. I didn't change what I did. I've incorporated it into my builds, particularly for me because I like to play a lot of single entry and 3 max. This single lineup generator, which we'll showcase in a little bit. And that, of course, is part of 3 of these 4 packages right here. Very, very simple stuff. The link is below. Click that link. Check this out. See what works for you. Simple as that. Get to the cheapies because I want to build some lineups. Again, these are not bums by any stretch. These guys can play. Detry flashed last week for about 5 minutes, and then all hell broke loose. Bez. How about Bez tackling Oakmont? No problem. Short game wizardry shows that you can do it. Here's a guy, if he is 3%, I'm going to be over on as a dark horse. Steven Jaeger, the German. This guy can score. He's a spike putter. His results are kind of a mixed bag, but I'm fine with that. I don't need consistency from him. I'm trying to hit a ceiling here. He's had some struggles in the toughest events, but he's been better outside that. 52nd at the Masters, 70th at the PGA. He missed the cut at the US Open. 4 straight positive on the greens. Jaeger, to me, is a really interesting last man in at 65. Again, he's not going to garner a lot of ownership. He's got a positive leverage score right here. He fits a lot of what I'm doing. I don't want to oversell it because he carries immense risk, even in a non-cut. Don't fall into the trap. I do this a lot. Or say, well, it's a non-cut. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is he plays awful, and that's the same as a miscut. You're dead in a non-cut format. A couple other guys before we start building. Benny Yon is down here. He had a rough go of it last week, but I think you go on the bounce back. I guess had win an Eckroat if I had to, but I'm not sure I want to. And unless you're playing Scheffler, I'm not sure you need to. Simple as that. There's just not that many names in this field because there's just not that many players in this field. Let's see, though, what we can do with the single lineup simulator. Again, I already told you, link in the description if you want to try this out yourself. Very easy. So, all right, first, show affordable players. We could sort by value and find some of these cheapies. Obviously, the cheap guys are going to be the cheap guys. There's no surprise here. I'm going to go with Bez. Let's see. Who's grading out? Let me zoom out just a little bit so I can do this. Glover, Eckroat. All right, you know what? Let's go a different direction. I'll build up top here. Keegan. Going to be popular. We could do this. Oh, sort by projection. Eber. Hovland. Okay. Go a little like kind of balance. Let's just see where we land. I'll start clicking some buttons. This is what's the beautiful thing about this tool. You can mess around with it, and then we'll have a starting point in just a second. Bobby Max, Speed, Griffin, Decky. Yeah, I'll go Decky. This is going to be a weird looking lineup. I'm kind of here for it though. This is some weird, wild stuff. Okay, put it in. I press run lineup simulation, and this is like I said, this is where the money is made. You're going to get an indication of where we're at. And then you see it, you say, okay, I've got some work to do here. Other parts, you can change small contests and line, put in the factors that work for you because that stuff matters, no doubt. And just to show you an example, so then, okay, I say, let me try this. Let me go Rory. That's not going to work. Too expensive. Let me go JT. Okay. Show affordable players. Where are we at? Jason Day. Perfect. All right. Now, let's try this again, and we'll see. Are we closer? Are we further? And it's not the end-all, be-all, but it's a great parameter. It's also fun as hell to build these lineups and try to craft some beauty, see how high you can get the ROI. We're chipping away. Simple as that. This is kind of a weird build, and in all honesty, I'm going to build just one more. Apologies. No, I'm not going to alter Xander's projection. I'm going to try my kind of where I wanted to go originally and just see what that looks like, where I punt and I really take out the 8K range. That lineup was kind of the antithesis of what I was trying to do. Tony, this is more where I'm going to be living, I think, realistically. 88. Henley. Egan. Bobby Mack. Yeah, Henley's fine. I'm indifferent to that play. Let's see what this, again, there's going to be all sorts of ways that you can work with this stuff, but I love messing around with this. I'll be obviously using this as I build tonight. Not a good indication, but it's super useful. Again, you want to know where you stand. I can't stress it enough. I have been such a better player just saying, okay, this lineup, it needs a little work, instead of I'm good with it. And this is just a single lineup simulator. Of course, if you're looking to build 150, something like that, you can legitimately, you simulate the tournament. You get hundreds of lineups instantly. Powerful stuff. I'm not going to showcase that, but if you have any questions, hit me up in Discord. I'd be happy to walk through it. Again, all part of what we've got here at Stokastic. It's not a major, but we got a lot of work in front of us. We got a lot of money to be made. So, friends, on that note, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have any questions for me, please hit me up at JazzRazBets. I'm dropping content on Twitter, certainly betting content over at OddsShopper. If you're interested in that, we've got you covered over there. Get over there. But for the DFS streets, we've got you here at Stokastic. It's going to be a great event. Let's keep it rolling. And if you hit something, we want the screenshots. We've been getting a steady flow of them, and we celebrate. We run some cool promos. When you guys win, we win. And when we win, you guys win. It's a community here. So if anyone takes down some crazy prizes, tweet me. Let me know. Hopefully I do. And I'll tweet society when I do. But appreciate everyone tuning in. Good luck this week at the Travelers Championship. Let's make some money. We'll run it back next week.